Hi, hello, and welcome back to the Wildflower Woman podcast. My name is Jess. I am your host, and I have with me today two lovely guests who are also previous guests on the No Way Tell Me Everything podcast, which is still the same thing as it is now. It's just with a different name. But anywho, I have Signe and Iben. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
These are two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. For so many reasons, but also because of all of the yapping that we do together.
We do a lot of yapping.
We do a lot of yapping. And I think the yapping is it's very beneficial for me, at least. I feel like we're really helpful with helping each other process and understand things. So we kind of got together last week and we thought, why not yap in public and see if maybe we can help other people, because there's so much stuff going on right now in the energy. And I feel like we're going to kind of talk a lot about that. And so just to recap, everyone thought last year was the hard year because it was the snake and it was shedding. And so I feel like I'm feeling, and a lot of people are also feeling like, what's going on?
Yeah,
because
like
it's
still
shedding.
feels horrible.
And a little bit more for me horrible than actually last year. I'm like, what the fuck? These first 3 months of this year has just been what?
No, totally. I mean, I think with the snake, it's like this quiet, almost gentle shedding. And with the fire horse, it's like ripping it out of you.
Burning
Like
it all out.
You know, it's when that medieval torture where you have like your arms tied to the horses. That's what it feels like. I mean, we were talking this morning, but I had an incident that cracked me wide open. If you've listened to the podcast, you might have heard the episode where I talk about how many parking tickets I get all the time. And I feel like for whatever reason, the universe has decided to use parking tickets to help me feel my feelings. And at the beginning of the eclipse corridor, I got a parking ticket. And I actually was like patting myself because I was like, I did so good. I didn't freak out. I let it go. And then I got one yesterday, but didn't find out till this morning. And I did not handle that well at all. And well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you say handle it.
Yeah.
I think I was meant to.
Yeah, I meant to see it this
open.
morning, and so you could crack open. And
It was a
have this
different
stuff.
sort.
Yeah,
It was a different sort of processing.
Yeah, totally.
and
So-
also we're in the end of the
the eclipse
right?
corridor.
So
Yeah.
right now it's just really a time to really burn and let that last stuff go.
Yeah.
The karmic release, which really makes sense from what you were feeling, the
Mhm.
feelings that you had, and what you were saying to yourself about this stupid parking ticket, right?
Stupid parking
It's
ticket.
the extra layer, right?
Yeah.
When you go like that circle, it's just getting deeper and getting
Mhm. Yeah.
the real grit out.
Yeah, and I mean with the snake, it's like external shedding. So it's like
Mhm.
literally like these layers off of you from the outside. And I don't know, I won't speak for anyone else, but for me, it feels like these really deep, like I've been referring to it as your shit closet. Like the stuff that you've hidden away even from yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you open that door and all the beach balls and crap are coming flying out at you.
Yeah.
Like and this week specifically. So this will come out next week. So sorry to everybody if you were hoping for this week kind of feeling. But
Yeah.
maybe you'll reflect back and be like, oh, that was what was going on.
Yeah.
But that definitely this week has been really, really heavy in that way. And it's a different type of heavy, I feel. Like it's a very different feeling than it was before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's also because what's going on in the collective. So we're feeling it extra right now for everything. Of course, there was things going on, war and all that stuff in 2025 as well. But it's taking it to another level right now, right? So I don't know if has something to do with it as well, that we're so many people feeling.
It's intensified.
Yeah.
And I do have this theory that like the higher that we go, the more darkness comes out, as well as the light shedding the light on the darkness, right? So when shit is getting worse and worse and worse, we'll be getting higher in another way, right? So that kind of, it's the balance point, right? And it needs to coexist.
You know, you're talking about that. I had a dream the other day about the spiders, which I told you lovely ladies, because we send each other voice notes pretty much all day, every day. But I get a lot through my dreams. And I had this dream, remember, that I was standing on a desk at like a beauty pageant. And the ceiling my head was too high for the ceiling. And so I was like, what am I supposed to do? And they were like, you have to just push through the ceiling. And when I did that, it was one of those ceiling tiles and all the spiders came down. And that's when that really, I'm not going to go into it because it's a real arachnophobia thing. But like now that you're saying that about going higher, I'm just realizing, I think that was their way of being like, you have to break through and all this stuff is going to come out the ceiling now. It's no longer like the toilets that I've been seeing for like the past months. Now it's the ceiling raining spiders on me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think a lot of people are feeling it. I had a client yesterday where she made a joke with me. She's like, I need you to do social media content where it's like do you want me to just pull up your chart real quick? Because like every time we talk, it's just going through something. And we do it like you do it with the gene keys or human design as well. We do it with astrology. And it's like, let me just look at your chart really quick. So she was having a difficult time with some stuff. And I was coaching her with the fact that this is exactly what's meant to happen. It's the energy of the time. And if you work with it, as much as it sucks with purpose. And you get through it. But I pulled up her chart and I was like pointing out all these things to her with the transitions. And I'm like, this is like remember how I had the other person who had the chart that was a complete reset? Yeah. Every single position on her chart was the same as her natal chart, which in astrology is like, it's basically a rebirth. Like it's a complete reset of your life. She had something really similar with all the collective planets, where they were all at the exact same point as. So I was like, this is exactly what you're meant to be feeling right now. It's that karmic reset. Sabrina talks a lot about that right now as well.
Yeah. I had a client yesterday as well, and she was like, I just can't be in this feeling of, she was really sitting with the feeling of being dumb. I'm just dumb. Like I can't, anything. I can't make any decisions. All that I do is wrong. And she says, I'm like, well, cutie, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
We all feeling it. So
I think also if your nervous system is like stressed out and all these things, you will feel dumb. And even when you're not, like I had the longest period of time where I was like, I am so unintelligent. Like I am the stupidest person on the planet. And then it turns out I'm not, and I think, that really goes for everyone. It's just when you're in that dark place, it's how you feel.
Yeah.
And, but don't let it get to you, right?
Yeah.
No. I also like to know the like overall collective energetics, because then I realize, I'm not being personally attacked.
No.
This is literally everything going on. And you saying that's exactly how I felt with the parking ticket, was just like, why am I so stupid? But I also know that Athena has been coming a lot in the energy, and she works a lot with empowerment and strategy and wisdom. And she's been pointing out to me how often I say to myself little like throwaway comments of like, oh, Jessica, don't be so stupid. Or like, oh, that was so dumb of me. I'm so dumb. Like you make these comments all the time. And as a somatic practitioner, I'm always telling people not to do that. But just like psychiatrist, I'm a horrible patient. I'm much better at teaching it than following it. No, I'm really good at following it, but everybody's human, right?
Yeah.
But I tell people like, you don't think it's a big deal to say that stuff, like, or you're joking about it, but your body doesn't hear it that way.
No. Can't tell the difference, right? It's it just takes everything in.
Yeah. So you have to be so careful. Okay, so we were all listening to one of Sabrina Lynn, who I also talk about in this podcast all the time. I love her recaps. I love her way that she intuitively looks at astrology. It is very high level, very esoteric. I personally love that. But if you don't, it's a little much. But she was talking about this change that a lot of us are feeling in the collective energy, and what's changing in the light workers and the people who basically, light workers, if you don't know what that term is, it's a generalized term for people who are here to bring light to the world, who are meant to do healing or helping or service or something. And a lot of us have been feeling the shift. And she was talking about how this year is going to be the year of Sedna. And so
I was thinking about that right before you were saying it. When you said Athena was coming in, I was like, Sedna.
Yeah. So I thought, that's what we kind of talked about, was why don't we talk about this upcoming year and who Sedna is and all this other stuff for people that might be interested, because again, knowledge is power. And I think this kind of stuff is like having a headlamp in the dark, so that, like I was saying, for example, when I'm crying for an hour over this parking ticket, which of course was not over the parking ticket, it was over the feelings that the parking ticket evoked within me. I let myself feel it. I just let myself crack open. I let the feelings come out. I was processing what was coming through and integrating that stuff as it did, with the knowledge that this is exactly what's meant to be happening right now. So it doesn't feel as monumental or huge. Like I wasn't like, well, I just can't do anything right. Better go back to corporate and give up because I'm an idiot. Like, of course that feeling comes up, but then I'm like, no.
It's not depleting you like it would have before, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about Sedna. All right. Who wants to talk about Sedna? Because I feel like you have a really good grasp of Sedna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her a lot. I really resonate with her. And maybe I know you girls do as well with the things we know about her. Yeah. Sedna is, she's a dark goddess. And her story was that she was in a boat with her father, and to prevent the boat for the father to not drown, he had to throw her overboard, but she wouldn't let go of the boat. So he had to cut her fingers off so she would let go. And she was like climbing to that boat. And you can imagine like being first thrown overboard by your own dad, and then afterwards having him cut your fingers off. That will be like so freaking hard, right? But of course, then she didn't have anything to hold on with anymore. So she turns into the sea. Her fingers turned into different sea creatures, and she went to the bottom and just went through this process of rebirth. So she went from human to goddess of the sea. Yeah, that is the short version.
Yeah, and then all of her, like her fingers and stuff turned into whales.
Yeah,
and,
it turned into sea creatures. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Because there were whales, but there were also some like
other
stuff
weird
like that.
things that we don't
It's
know.
like it's a much bigger mythological story. So if you feel interested in it, definitely go. She's an Inuit goddess. It's a gorgeous story. I mean, I feel like I love those mythological stories where it's not just like there's a deeper, darker aspect to it. Cause that is humanity. That's the reality.
Yeah.
You know?
I always get back to that point in my life sometimes where I'm like, okay, where am I holding on? Where am I not letting go?
Yeah.
Where do I need to cut my fingers off? So for the last 3 months where it's been really heavy for me, I really had that picture of me, like, where am I holding on and where do I need to cut off? And just the process of going down into the ocean and just all of the thoughts that are going and processing that I think Sedna must have thought as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same feelings that I'm sitting with, right? But the process of going down there and then you hit the bottom and then the transformations happens. So I'm in that state of I'm not fully at the bottom yet, but I'm kind of feeling some transformation is starting to happen, but I'm happy to see where it's going to take me.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it interesting as well, because when you look at the asteroids, right? Because Sedna is also an asteroid. And it's the energy that comes into the world when they're discovered, right? So this is, I think she's one of the newest ones to have been discovered. I think it's 2018 or something. It's recent energetics for the collective. I mean, of course, the story is a lot older, but it is interesting to see how it's playing out. And it's very much alive in the astrology as well right now, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like just a note on the astrology portion. Something that people don't, and that's the stuff that Sabrina Lynn talks about where it's very esoteric and she uses the mythology as archetypes because of the names of these asteroids and other moons and things like that. Chiron is a moon, for example, but that is energy as well. But it's something that like we're not taught.
Yeah.
This is just a side note. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't believe in astrology, you don't have to believe in astrology. You can think of it as anything that you want to be. The energy is there, whether you believe in how it's expressing itself or not. And you don't have to work with it. Like it's not a judgmental, you have to work with this kind of thing. But I do think it's interesting that, you know, across the globe, everyone, like we don't have one universal language, but we have astrology and like, you know, all over the globe, people resonate with that feeling because we're all feeling, you know, similar types of energies. Yeah. It's really interesting that Sedna is only discovered in 2018.
I think, don't hang me up on exactly the year, but she is definitely one of the new ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about the archetypes.
Oh my God, we were talking about the other day that, what was it?
It's like, that's the
cycle.
Is it the 7-year cycle?
Yeah, but there was a cycle in the cycle that we were talking about. I can't remember now, but it started in 2018 and it was
your business.
Yeah.
Oh, with your personal stuff.
Yeah, personal stuff and the self-worth part. Oh, it was the return of Chiron. Chiron in my chart, like where it was if you were born in the mid 70s, I think, to mid 80s.
84, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the Chiron return in my So I'm really looking forward to seeing when this will shift, but it was not until June. No. So I have a couple of months yet.
I think the interesting thing about it too is like, you know, when people say like, oh, I don't believe in astrology because I don't identify with my sun sign. It's like, okay, well, I don't know how to break this to you. You have 11 other signs in your chart and who knows what, you might only have your sun in one area, right? But you have like a stellium of like 4 planets in a different area. Yeah, there's a lot more energy there than another one. It's very complex. Like it's not just one thing.
There's so many different approaches to it as well. Like I've been toy a little bit with looking at the fixed stars and the placements and the conjunctions and stuff like that, because they bring another perspective, right? And there's so many different things you could pick at, and it's just really interesting, and you'll get different messages. Well, also, like I resonate with my whole sign, but I also resonate with my placidus. Like, so it's not right or wrong anything. It's just
I always
different information.
Resonated with my sign because Aries, like I have a fire in my butt, so that makes sense. I mean, human design, I'm a generator, so it's just like, and most of my planets in my signs are like fire.
Yeah, and I have the air.
I don't have any. I have air as well, but I don't have any water or earth. So that's why I'm wearing like this sky here.
Okay.
Ground.
I have no fire at all.
Oh.
Like it's
You can borrow a little
yeah,
bit.
I'll get some for you because I'm all but yeah.
But that's also just like that's your energy. We
Yeah.
all have these different energies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a number of Scorpios who I've never really met that many people who can't find something that they kind of relate to.
Mhm.
But weirdly, I find because now that you're talking about it, I was just reflecting on the fact that everybody I can think of at the moment who does not resonate with their sun sign at all really is a Scorpio. And I have to wonder if that's because of maybe the demonization of a lot of Scorpio traits. So people like society.
I like it. I have it in my moon.
Yeah, I mean, I like it too, but I
it's
think
like-
if you don't
It's
want to
true,
embrace
it's
the
like-
shadow
yeah,
side of it,
that's
like
true, that's
Scorpio is a lot of shadow. Yeah, depth. Like that's
Yeah.
the way to look at it. But
Yeah.
in society, that's
Yeah.
often seen as
Yeah. But that's
You
the
know?
rep, right?
Yeah.
And that's the horoscope on the back on the
Yeah.
on the newspaper and stuff. Because I'm a Scorpio rising,
Yeah.
so I know
Yeah.
it too, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's like I think it's also because well, at least I can talk for myself. Like when I was a kid, I was thinking like, oh, I was really interested, like animal skeletons and all these kind of things, like things that
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
a little bit like
Macabre.
death, you know? Yeah. It was I was curious about it, but I also felt like I wasn't allowed to, and not because my family said that I wasn't allowed to, but it just felt a little bit taboo. So it would be something that I would like press down and go like, oh no, decay, no, but no, and actually allowing myself to sit with that and be curious about those aspects that are just as much a part of life as everything else, right?
Yeah, totally.
Has opened up a lot for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I realized when I started working on the natal thing that, that's my Scorpio, which
Mhm.
is represented quite a lot in my chart.
Yeah.
So,
But it is funny how we're perceived as the dark side or shadow side or bad side. Also, when I started to work with the dark feminine, people were like, huh. And when I started holding ceremonies with them, people were like, why are you calling them dark? It's like, because they are, but it's just shadow. There are gifts there as well. Like I told them, like, I have been working in the light and the dark. Not really any gifts in the light. A lot of gifts in the dark have been brought up to me.
yeah, but if you look at the yin yang as well, you got the dark as the feminine, right?
Yeah.
And
We
there's
need
all
both.
that. We need
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
I think when I think about the light and dark side, I think the light is the part of us we already know and we embrace, right? So
Yeah.
that's why if you spend all your time in the light, you're not going to grow anywhere or transform or alchemize anything. You're already with that.
Yeah.
But to your point, like
Yeah.
if you're willing to go into the shadow side and look at the darker aspect, there's always something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it's like, I feel like that's where a lot of people find their purpose.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like you have to dig for it a little bit, but
Definitely.
when you find it and get through that shadow and alchemize it, a lot of times I feel like that's where that aha moment of like, oh,
Yeah.
this plays into my purpose comes from.
I actually think my light language started the first time I worked with Hecate, dark feminine energy as well. And I was like, what am I talking right now?
I do also think that there's this, like, people are so unaware
Yeah.
of that whole, like, other side of them
Yeah.
because they've been suppressing it for such a long time. And
Yeah.
again, I'm talking for myself
Mhm.
because I spent like 42 years of my life pressing it down and ignoring it big time. And then at some point, well, maybe you surf through life and then you get back next life and have to do it again. But,
That
or
happens.
you get to the point where you crash and then you're like, oh, this is also me, right? Because crashing and being in that terrible state of depletion and sadness and madness and whatever is also part of life. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a
No.
turning point.
It's
If
like
you
with the
literally-
weather.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
people are like, we're just taught that sunshine is good, happy feelings are good, rain sucks, bad feeling sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we kind of need both. We're not just happy sunshine people all the time. Then we will not grow and we will not be real if we don't have both sides.
Also, you can find so much joy in those times. Like that's the
Yeah.
other thing. I say the word I fight with people. I don't fight with people about it. But like the people who are really resistant to go into the shadow side, I think they have this perception that it's going to be doom and gloom all the time and it's going to crack them open and it's going to break them and it's going to be hard. And I'm not saying that there aren't moments of that. Of course there are, because that's where
Yeah.
that's where the best stuff happens.
Yeah.
However, like I just was reminded of this video I have of Luna outside in her pajamas dancing in the rain. Like there are moments of joy and happiness. And we know, like when you have that cracking open moment, it is so hard. But honestly, there's also this feeling of like, finally,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know?
There's so much
It's
goodness there.
beautiful. when you crack that, and
Yeah.
you have like your tears streaming, and you're like,
So grateful
wow,
and just like
and that's
just
okay. So this is
such
actually
a big open heart.
It's a beautiful thing to
Yeah.
get to experience.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
It really is.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the thing with the energy for the coming year and everything, it's really good to understand it, but it's also good to understand your own chart. So if you don't know the basics of your own chart, you can write me on Instagram. I'm always happy to talk about that stuff. But like your sun, moon, rising are really good. But if you want to know where it's going to hurt the most, look where your moon is going to be in the year. Look at where Chiron is placed in your chart. Like those areas tend to be a lot of where transformation happens. Look at Saturn. That's where you're going to be restricted. Because to your point about the 7-year cycle with Chiron, so now Chiron is moving into my sign of Taurus. So I have to look in my chart and go, where is Chiron in my chart, in my natal chart? And where is Chiron this year in my solar return chart? That's a little bit more advanced. You can get a reader to help you with that. Don't use AI. It's constantly wrong. But those areas will give you an idea. So like, for example, I don't remember where I have Chiron in my chart, but I think it might be my 7th or my 9th house. So I tend to experience wounds. Let's use someone else's example. If it's in the 4th house, this is clear. If it's in the 4th house, that's your home and family life. If Chiron is there, it means that a lot of your core wounds will sit around the energy of home and family, the feeling of home within yourself, stuff like that. So let's say that Chiron is in Taurus in your 4th house. It probably shows up as a feeling of like not having a stable home life, not feeling grounded, not having comfortableness in your house, something like you might have had a really bad home life. And then you realize for the year, Chiron is actually placed in your 7th house. If you're married, you probably should prepare for some energy around your marriage and your home coming in for the year. So having that knowledge is really powerful because, again, when people say, I don't believe in astrology, I feel like they're reading the newspaper astrology. And so they're like, oh, this doesn't work for me. And it's like, but you have the energy of all of the signs in your chart. You have different emphasis in different areas of your life from those energies. So you cannot have a one size fits all. Like those videos that you scroll through on Instagram where they're like, Taurus, your life is about to get so much better because Uranus just left Taurus. And I'm like, okay, but
what about all
the other stuff? Like I got Chiron in there now, so this doesn't apply to me necessarily. Like it could apply to me in a degree collectively, the larger, but it doesn't mean, that you're going to have like, you might have expansion in some areas, but you're going to have contraction in other areas. I feel like there really
isn't anything of one fits all.
No,
like nothing, nothing works.
Nothing in life. I think we want that, right?
Yeah,
that's
really
like the easiest thing, but that's been a really big lesson for me lately is like, everything is going to take time. The 3 Little Pigs has been coming up so much for me.
Puffing?
No, because more like everyone's building these stick houses. The people building the brick houses aren't out having fun and doing all this other stuff because they're building their brick houses.
I actually dreamed about pigs.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. No, we're just talking. There's lots of pigs going on. I think pigs are lucky in some cultures, but then in other traditions, they're dirty and gross. But we'll go with the lucky ones.
Yeah, there's a dark and a light side.
There's a dark and a light side to pigs. Love pigs. They're very intelligent.
I love sound. I love when they do like that. Like
they're cute. I love pigs too. They're so sweet. But yeah, like this idea that we all idolize this quick and easy because that's what's constantly shown to us. And we've made our lives really quick and easy as much as possible. And we shun the hard work and everything. But the people who put in the hard work, whether it's yourself, your business, your relationship, whatever, that's the foundation that will stick.
I do kind of long for a time where we had a little bit more energy to do things properly, right? Instead of just skirting over where it's easiest. That's kind of like we need more progress line of being. I mean, like, do we need any more advancement in
could we just slow it down?
Do we need all of this extra?
I mean,
gadgets?
the funny thing is, I would argue, yes, we do, but not in the areas anyone's investing them in.
True. But true. But also, like, I do think there is a homecoming in some ways too, that the technology is us realizing how much our body can do, and
our brain,
and that collab, but. A lot of it is the body because, like, the brain is there for now I'm doing the whole human design thing.
No, I love it.
The brain is there for picking up information, right? But not for making decisions because the decisions should be made from here. And I think there's gonna be a lot of shifts in that as well. Like in the next coming years, that we'll see that it's shifting. There might be some other people going, let's push.
Yeah.
But there will be some of us that will be coming home and like letting it flow naturally because. that is what we're designed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to use the term like awakened and non-awakened because I think it has like a negative context to it. But I agree with you that there's going to be a sort of split of, for me, the feeling that I've been getting for the coming years, but especially like coming year, is very much about like micro communities and also embodiment. And I've been seeing a lot of other people talk about embodiment. And I think it's brought on by the fact that, you know, I've ranted to them about this so many times, but like we have oversimplified our life, that we've completely outsourced our ability in ourselves. And we're sold as it being this simple fix. But at the same time, it's not, because it ends up being more work for you than if you had just understood the assignment yourself. And I feel like that's something we're going to come back to, because I think with the invention of AI, a lot of people have jumped in feet first. But I think a lot of people who actually went full in on AI are starting to realize how, I don't want to say dumb, but I'm going to say dumb, like how dumb it's made them.
Yeah.
Because your brain is so capable, and you know, and you have like, when you connect the two of them and then you also go out and learn and do all this other stuff, you have the capabilities, but we just basically have this like straight channel from like the top of our head to our asshole, and it's just going straight through. So we're just literally putting out shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
We're basically a donut, right?
Yeah. It's like, but I think people really like, you know, that's the confusion. Like people are like, I don't really understand this, or I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, you do know how to do it, but you're so used to outsourcing it that you haven't integrated that. And so, you know, you can't talk about stuff with people. You can't talk about the stuff you do or that you like or whatever, because you haven't actually experienced it or embodied it or integrated it. So that's something that I see a lot for the year. And I think with Sedna, to bring it back to her and cutting her fingers off and everything, I think a lot of the time, the reason we outsource stuff actually is from a place of wanting more control.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so even though it's funny, because it's this dichotomy, it's this duality of like, you do it so you have more control, so you can do more stuff, or you know, do these things that you feel like you don't have control over, but you're actually giving away all of your control, all of your power, right? And I think I do feel that there are people who are really starting to wake up and realize this. And, you know, you can also hear it and see it just in general in terms of AI, that people are really like this. I don't want this AI slop anymore. I want real, you know, realness.
Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also a thing for wanting to control everything, right? Because that's also something that you're like, oh, I need to make sure that I micromanage everything and make sure that it becomes this way. And then you can use AI to get it to that way as well. But then you kind of stomp the magic.
Yeah.
Like you kind of go like, okay, so that's closed off for you, but I'm going to decide how everything's going to be. And then you don't get that, like those moments where you're like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this could be so good.
And like what you were writing, be like, wow. I remember the other day, like I told you with the testimonials that I had, like, right, I had like big, long sheets from clients from a specific session. And I was like, oh, this is just a lot for me to figure out. And I just want to make this post and I want to get it out. And I don't want to have people take the time to do it. I didn't want to like go back to them again and be like, hey, can you condense all of this to
Can you make this just 2 sentences?
Yeah.
Thank you for your lovely words.
Yeah.
I hate them. Could you just do 2 sentences? Yeah.
So I put them in AI. I was like, oh, okay, let me see. Like, can this do anything? And I was like, put them in and asked it to condense it and take the words out of it and just be a short testimonial, right? And then first I was like, yeah, fine. You know, the generator version me was like, cool, go.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, hey, wait a minute. This just sounds fake. They have the same tone and the same voice. And this is not me. This is not aligned with who I am and how I do my work. What the hell did I just do? And then I was like, fuck, because I wrote everybody like, is it okay if I use this? I said to them, I used AI to condense all your words to this. And everybody said yes. And afterwards I was like, fuck, now I asked everybody if they were okay with it. And now I don't want to use it. Now I want to go back and do another one. So that was like just more work for me, right?
Yeah.
But I was so happy that I was caught in that and being out, you're out of alignment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do a whole episode on how I use AI, because I think that there's definitely ways to use it that is actually like very, very helpful. But we've talked about this and we all agree on this, I think, is like, you're perfectly capable of doing, and if you're not able to talk about something at all, maybe consider if you should be talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's just not your area.
Right now. maybe.
That's why I have this branding course, because then you can find out what actually is the stuff that resonates with you that you're meant to speak about. And then it's much easier because you don't have to sit there and rack your brain of like, I don't know what to say. Or you're like, no, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. But exactly for now, like if you're not, you can go learn about it and whatever, integrate that knowledge, then you're great. And you don't have to get certified in it. You can literally just go read about it. But yeah, I think, a lot of these people will tell you, you can't write long form like that. People's attention spans are so bad and they won't read it. And I think that to a degree is true. You have to recognize that we've ruined our attention spans. That is to a degree true. But the people who are meant to be reading your stuff, I fully believe will read it.
Yeah.
The people who find it interesting.
Yeah. But there's like several layers there as well, because there's still getting your point across in as few words as possible, right? So you don't steal people's time as well, which is also like the energetic exchange. Yeah. But not doing the AI slot where you get like the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the one thing. Actually, the woman who I took a course yesterday about marketing with this new paradigm, that was the one thing she said that I loved because I fully agree with it. She was saying, it's not that you're not good enough, it's a skills gap.
Yeah.
And that is 100% what I believe. Everybody can do whatever they're looking to do. It's just you have to learn how to do it. So to your point, like I still write in my tone of voice and it is long form, but it's condensed to what is the most important information that you need to know here.
Yeah. And I do think that it is important that you keep on writing in your tone of voice, because my idea about it is that if you read something and you know the person's voice, you'll actually read it in their voice, which will make it land deeper. If you don't know it and they write like somebody else, then it won't land as deeply. And I, for many years, tried to write as somebody else. Like I was like, oh, this is how they want to, no.
Also, I have different tones of voice when I write. Like when I'm writing on social media, it's like I'm speaking to you. Like I just write like I'm speaking. But on my website or in my Substack, that's literary Jess. That's the Mark Twain version of myself. Like that's where I literally am poetic. And you can have different ways of speaking on different platforms. It just has to be you.
Yeah. But for me, it's like mine is the same because I can't write in any other way than how I talk.
Which is also totally valid.
Yeah.
You talk wonderfully. Everybody likes
you.
you.
But I also feel like with the AI stuff, and I don't know if this is my line 6.3 line, that is like I just need to make mistakes on my own and do them, and then like I did cut myself and be like, this is not right.
That could very well be a line thing there.
I generally feel like that is the best way to learn. Like everyone's really scared of making mistakes. And I'm like, go make so many mistakes because you're going to learn the best way.
Yeah. That was funny because when we went to the kids' school's 75th birthday, Thomas was in a panel, my husband, and he was talking about what would be a good way for schools to go in the future. And one of the things he said was to make it okay to fail. And actually also show the kids the different versions up until the final version, so that you get to see all the failed version before the good one. Because if you only see the good one, you don't know that the other ones exist. And I was like, that's
really. Because also like now that we're just touched on AI as well, I saw in the news the other day that can't remember what the percentage was, but it was really big of kids using AI for their schoolwork. They didn't want to admit that they did it, but they just want to do it because they were scared that if they did it themselves, they would get a lower grade. And I was like, oh, fuck, are we there now? Like, shit.
Yeah, but that's the lack of integration and learning. And you were talking about your generator vibe and how you want to go. And I also fully have that. Also, the bull in me is like, let's go. Go right through all the fences that are telling you to stop, right? The one thing that I've started doing as part of integrating what I've learned in this past year is when I feel the urge to do something, I start it, but then I stop and I let it sit. And then I come back to it. And I find that way of working for me, and this is again down to knowing yourself, knowing how you work and understanding you. It allows me to keep momentum going because if I don't move with the initial nudge to do it, I lose it. So I have to get it started, but I don't benefit. I realized from my mistakes that if I post it too soon, I'm losing some of the magic because there always comes a bit more information or a different perspective or something that helps me make it even better than it was before. But that only comes when I let it marinate for at least like a couple hours, but usually a day. And then so I like for my social media, for example, now we're not talking about energy at all, but that's fine. For my social media, I will like do everything on Monday. I like write down topics, I will get them started, and then I sit down Monday, I edit all the videos or the carousels, and I put in all the captions, and then I walk away And then I don't go back to them a day later, and I go through everything again. And I know for some people, they'll tell you not to do that because they're like, that's a waste of time. For me, knowing myself, not a waste of time. That's why we don't believe in one size fits all.
Yeah.
For me, that is when I come back and I go, oh, there's a more succinct way to say that, or there's a clearer way to say this, or this actually is not tied as much to this. And I forgot, you know what I mean? So there's always a little bit more.
I do that as well.
Yeah.
Actually.
The plus or the downside, I guess, is to make sure that I don't sit on it too long because I want it to be perfect. Just know that. But yeah.
Know that difference.
Yes. Yeah.
Like finding yourself in that. Oh, okay. Am I overthinking this now? Right.
Yes.
I'm still terrible at just making something and then
putting it up.
Yeah,
but I mean, I also feel like, why do you think you're terrible? But why do you feel like you're terrible? Because I enjoy your content.
No, but it's sometimes I wish I just let it sit for a little bit. It's more that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think with bigger things, I'm good at taking notes. Like I'll sit and I'll have an idea. I'll just put it in my phone just to have the keywords.
Yeah.
And then maybe 20% of the time, I don't remember what the keywords were for.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's nice. And then you can kind of work on it from there.
I love doing it. I've started to try to take like longer voice notes because
Yeah.
I'll like write one word on my notes app and then I go back and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I did the voice notes as well. Yeah. But sometimes in the morning when I wake up, I will have like a full like post that just wants to come out. And I'm like, okay, then I'm writing it down because Adam, my boyfriend, is sleeping next to me. I won't lie and put a voice message in there. But then I would just pour it out. I love that it comes in the morning. It's just like
I usually get them like right between waking and fully awake. Like I do
Yeah.
remember a lot of my dreams, and since I get a lot of information there, when I wake up, I try to just lay there in that space for a little bit and let everything come back a little bit and sink in. And a lot of times that's when I will get.
That's mine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had that time.
Yeah.
Because I like that's
Yeah.
get up and get moving and get everything ready.
And then I have a very good agreement for me that I get to lay in bed and he brings me coffee. And not all the time. Some days, some days we have hard days with the kids where they're having some trouble getting out of bed and then they need mommy. But yeah. Luckily, I'm also just not a morning person.
You know why?
Me neither.
The problem is none of us are.
Okay.
So it's kind of like
Morton is.
But then, Thomas is sweet and takes the kids to school. So then I get up and get them ready. And then that's a kind of, that's a nice balance. And he jokes all the time. He's like, but you're such a morning person. It's so nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny actually, because like Morton is a morning person and Grace is a morning person and me and Luna are not. So it's very split.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, who cares about my kids, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good thing for me, like everybody's human design and just kind of knowing that it's like, okay. And I think even in our relationship, me being aware that he's a manifestor and I'm a projector. We both need alone time. We both need rest and we should not push each other into situations has shifted the entire energy in my household, which is like, we'll just let each other do what we need to do. This is kind of working. It's not like, oh no, we need to. Who says that we need to do this? Like,
I feel like that's the thing that like, I'm always respectful of other people's beliefs and opinions. And I think that's the way everyone should be. But I feel like that's where my logical brain struggles a little bit is like, if you just open your mind, like even a fraction to looking at these different ways of understanding yourself and saw how they do change your relationships, even if you don't believe in human design as a concept, but you're like, it still works.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. So I'm like, I don't understand why people are so closed off to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, it doesn't really matter where it's coming from or where the insights are coming from. But if you can get yourself and the people that you have in your closest vicinity, if you can get to know them a little bit better, then why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
just so helpful.
It's really
for
helpful.
everybody.
It is. They feel seen. They feel understood. And you stop pushing them into like the square peg in the round hole, right?
Better at communicating your own needs because you know them better now.
You're aware of what it is. It's like, I'm so sorry, but I need my space. I need alone time.
Yeah. Or like emotional processing. Like when I found out about astrology and what it meant that I have a Cancer moon, I was like, oh, crap. I have not been processing my emotions. I have been like burying them in the sand when I need to be like to Sedna, going deep in them and just letting them come out. And like, is that uncomfortable for my husband? Sometimes maybe a little bit. Yeah. But I do think it makes the relationship better because I'm not holding in stuff. And it's not just our relationship, it's literally everything. Yeah. And the thing is, you can see how uncomfortable emotions make people, and I've been there, so I get it. Yeah. But I will like literally be cracked open crying and people are like, what do I do? What do you need? How do I make you feel better? I'm like, I will feel better. Yeah. I just need to feel first. Yeah. and then I'll be fine. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything. If it makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, like, go away. Like, I'm always telling people, like, if you need to cry, you cry.
Yeah.
But the number of time that people are like, I'm so sorry when they start crying, I'm like, no,
I
still
stopped,
fine.
I stopped apologizing for it, but it's been a hard thing for me as well. Also, just allowing myself to cry when it comes up, because it can come up from the weirdest things. But a lot of the time, it's also happy tears for me. Or it's like just
that's true.
it's like emotions. It's
Mhm.
just like it's like,
Processing.
oh my god, this is really tender. You know, it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be sad. It can be anything.
And when you told me this like a long time ago, but when I was still figuring out feelings of everything, you said like, don't try to understand, don't try to intellectualize,
Yeah.
just let yourself feel them. And that was such an interesting turning point for me because I was often attributing things that my brain logically thought of or was aware of to an emotion that had nothing to do with.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. It could also, like, if you just stop for a second and just figure out where it is in your body and don't try to figure out what feeling it is, but just like, oh, I'm feeling something in my stomach. I'm feeling something in my, I'm feeling something in my head, whatever. And just let yourself feel it. It really shifts a lot, because the thing is, oh, why am I feeling this? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, why is not important right now. It's like the actual emotion, and it's allowed to be there.
Yeah.
Accept it, allow it in, embrace it if you can. You know?
I got a small whiplash a few years back.
Like physical.
Physical. Yeah. But it was like in a car. We didn't have an accident. I have a long neck. And it's very like
Even
dropping around, right? So I was looking out to the side, and I was like, clocked the brakes, and I was like, ow. I'm so into all the things. But then I asked my body, I was like, what are you trying to tell me with this? Why did this happen to me? And it was like, you're too stressed out. You're doing too much. And I was like, no, I'm not. My first reaction was like, no, I'm not.
That's always our reaction. We're like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Because I
Silly.
was like, I at that point, I wasn't that busy in my business. So I was like, yeah, I'm just doing things from home and just like, and I was like, yeah, but that.
Yeah.
You're
You're doing too much there. You're not taking breaks. And you're also going a little bit too hard in your self-development, like right now. Just dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
No, that's okay. So that's something, now that you've touched on it, that I personally love as a woo woman, fully in the woo. I really think that a lot of things, I mean, a somatic practitioner, right? Like, but I really feel like things like that as well are signs from the universe in our body that we don't listen to. And like, I had a client who was very similar. Like, I was like, you need to dial it back. Like, you need to rest a bit more. And she was like, no, it's fine, because I'm just working from home and I do while the kids are sleeping and whatever. And she kept like having these accidents where she was like tripping or she was like hitting something. And she kept not taking the break. And I was like, I really feel like you're being told that you're moving too fast. You're not looking where you're going. Also, you need to slow down and take a break. She literally stubbed her toe on just like the floor and broke it, like completely broke it. And I was like, do you think maybe? Also, like, it's not isolated, right? Like, at the same time, she's trying to hold these meetings. She's planned all this huge meeting. Her internet goes out. Then the internet goes out in the whole city. Then their electricity goes out. And I'm like, they're like, hello, stop, you know? But I think people that don't want to be in the woo, they're like, man, this day sucks. And I'm like, well, it's like, or with Mercury retrograde. Like Morgan was sitting there working yesterday and our internet was like, beep, boop, beep, boop, like just going off and on all the time. And I knew that. So I just would like, you know, and that's
Does he ever blame you for that? Being like, you and your Mercury retrograde.
No, but because of Loki always coming around. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's a side story. But Loki always makes me burp these really crazy, dry but huge burps. And we were in the kitchen right before I went to the meeting and I was like doing that. And then I went, oh, Loki. And then I said, oh no, something's going to happen. And he was like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, every time he makes me burp like that, it's because he's warning me that. And it did. It did. But he was sitting there and he was like cursing. He's like, Satan, like all these Danish. And I was like, how's it going? And he was like, is Mercury still in retrograde? And I was like, oh, I was like, it is. And it's almost at the end. So that's just where I get the big flare up. Yeah. But I mean, I learned my lesson because I used to also be like, no, I'm getting this done. And then I was building out a carousel to come out this week and Canva was like, you've lost internet. Do you want to keep working? All of your work could be lost. And I'm like, I don't think I do, Canva. I don't think that's a great option. But I mean, I think the old version of me would be like, you know what, we're gonna chance it.
But I used to do it as well. Like if I was making something and my kids would come up and go like, Mom, can you do this right now? And I'd be like, no, I'm just busy doing this. And I'm like realizing, no, them coming up to me saying, hey, can you help me with this right now? It's for me to go like, sure, honey.
Yeah.
Like that can wait because there's a reason why that needs to happen at another time. It's just about accepting because everything is communicating.
Totally. But again, I think to your point about it's communicating with you, I closed the laptop and walked away on that carousel. And when I came back and I looked at it, I went, this is too busy. It's too much. But I was almost at a point where I was trying to finish it. So I was going to finish that. And then I would have been wasting all that time when really I needed to have that space, to my earlier point, to be like, no, it's too much going on. You want to include too much, Jessica. Yeah. This is a Coco Chanel thing. Take something off. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I think the energy of this year, I haven't looked specifically into like the long-term astrology. I did do a 2026 energy reading.
July is
tarot.
Interesting.
Okay. I don't remember what, as usual with all my intuition stuff, is like in one ear. But I do remember that like spring, let's be honest, it was not a rosy reading for the whole year in like any way, shape, or form, but there were some like bright points. So I feel like beginning of summer, end of spring kind of time, there were some like bright spots and movement. And then there was something in the summer that was also bright, but it was also not. There was like one card and the rest of them were not happy.
I think this weekend is going to be the turning point, like with the equinox and everything. That's going to be like the starting point of the newer energy. And then, which is easy to say because that's kind of, you know, but July is very interesting. You should have a look at that because that's like a lot of things are lining up and there's a lot of.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember there's one astrologer I follow who's in the States. So the majority of her astrology is predictive for the US. Like she does talk about global stuff, but she of course mainly focuses on the US. That's where her audience is. That's where she is. And she talks about something in the US's birth chart. Because if you didn't know, you can do birth charts for your business, for countries, for companies. You do a whole lot of different birth charts for things like big moments.
Interesting.
And it's always interesting.
You could do it in whichever system you like. You could do human design, you could do it in look at it. It's really it's cool.
That's true. No. But yeah, there is some interesting toecraft. There is some interesting things going on in the US in July. But okay, I'll have to look at it. I feel like also then fall and winter this year, if I remember correctly, were about big change.
Oh yeah. Like, but then we have the whole human design.
Oh yeah,
Gene Keys thing. We got February next year.
What is it? The cross of the something phoenix.
Yeah, cross of the sleeping phoenix.
Can you tell which modality I'm better in than the other one? Cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's interesting, which we talked about on our episode from the last one. Yeah. Which if you haven't listened to, we talk about the Gene Key Dragonfly prophecy, which is this year, next year.
But this is like the grand finale leading up to. Again, it's not a certain point in a date where it's going to, well, there is a date on it, but I don't believe that you can pinpoint anything to a certain date in that way.
It's just like the energy of a moment.
It's moving, right?
Yeah. I think the big thing, is Sabrina's saying with the surrender, I think when I'm trying to remember what I got back then and what I'm feeling now, I think a lot of it is surrender and loss is also, I'm getting this feeling that it's very much about like the way you thought things should be or the way you thought things were. You're surrendering to the idea that that's not the case. Because I think when people hear surrender, they think a loss of control. They obviously have reactions to that, especially if you've had trauma. Yeah. The idea of surrendering is really, really difficult. If you're neurodivergent and you have these systems in place to help you get through your day or through your week, whatever, the idea of surrendering can be terrifying or like very resistant, like no. Yeah. And so I think it's also understanding the perception of what that means. It means understanding that the way that you thought things needed to be isn't necessarily the case. It doesn't mean giving up.
And there's also something about the end result, right? Because we have like this idea about what we really want, but what if it could get better? There's also not being too attached to exactly, to the outcome.
I struggle with that a lot, honestly. Like that's one of my, and that's one of the things in my Gene Keys is I struggle with my attachment to something turning out a certain way and not, perceiving the fact that sometimes things turn out really shit. Yeah. Because they need to learn a lesson to get to somewhere else.
Also with like when I started I'm 44 in a month and I started my career as a clothing designer. And I was like, since I was a kid, I thought that was just the way I wanted to go. Straight through after 10th grade, I was like all into design. And then I got hit in my late 20s with 3 misplaced discs in my neck from one day to another. And I don't know what you say in English, but musam, like the thing where your arms hurt, you can't like hold
It's
the
not
pen.
carpal tunnel, is it?
No, because that's something else.
Like using the mouse.
When you're using the
carpal
mouse,
tunnel,
is
though, I
it?
think.
But it's up here.
I don't know.
But yeah, so in both
Mouse
arms,
arms is
yeah,
what it's called in
mouse
Danish.
arms, musam in Danish. I had that in both arms, and so I was sick. I was out for half a year, and I couldn't do anything. And then when I lost my job at that point because I was being sick for too long. And then I got another job where I was like working towards getting up in hours again. And then when I hit the normal hour rate, I got a fallback, and I was like, fuck.
You're not supposed to be doing this.
No, exactly. So it was really like, listen. And then the universe took me on a detour to find where I'm at today with healing and clairvoyance and these things, energy work. And it makes sense. But I was like, that was really hard to go through because that was my whole identity.
Yeah.
I was seen as Iben, the clothing designer. And I was like, that's me. And that was what I was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to look back at that kind of image that you had built from yourself, right?
Yeah.
From this is who I am and this is what I do, and then clinging on to it for such a long time.
And we do that, all of us, for a lot, because also that we kind of have that built into our system as well, that take this education and then you get this job and then this job is what you are, right? So there's a lot of like,
I think it's also like I can really only speak for myself, but at the same time say that I see this in a lot of other people, is that also becomes part of your identity because it's something that validated you. Like we're taught that your career is a validation point. Like it's part of your worth, what you do for a career. That's why, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be like, you got to read your homework or you're going to be a trash man. And that was like a bad thing. Like you're going to be, and I'm like, dude, they got great hours.
Yeah.
They get paid really well. Sure, it smells like trash, but if you're cool with that, like it's actually probably a pretty chill job.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you tie certain things to your worth,
That's
and then,
society.
and that's why it's really hard to let go of. Like today, when I was doing my meditation, part of what I was coaching myself through was this getting a parking. I should keep going back to the parking ticket, but we're using it as a teaching example. Like this parking ticket doesn't say anything about you as a person. It does not say that you're not good enough or you can never do anything right or you're constantly like messing up something. It just says you got a parking ticket.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody. That's all it says. It literally doesn't, or like my daughter was in a soccer tournament in the weekend and she didn't win. And I laid with her in her bed and cuddled her and talked to her for like half an hour to help her understand that like her ability to play soccer and how good she is at soccer says absolutely nothing about her as a person. So we were talking a lot through like we did the normal practical stuff of like some days, even your best soccer day, you will not win because someone has an even better soccer day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't play soccer really well because you're having a bad day. That's both okay. The only thing that matters is that you show up because you want to show up, you put in the effort, and you feel good about yourself after because you did those things. That's it.
Yeah.
It's all you have to do is align with your values. And then there's the second part of, okay, you didn't win an award today. Does that mean that you're less kind? Are you any less smart? Are you any less funny? Do you feel like this says anything about your friends? Do your friends think this makes you worse? Like we do all that like self-esteem talk because we do constantly put these, I got a promotion. Like I also had the reflection when I was journaling that I haven't told my parents about my business at all. And when I thought about that, I was like, why have I not told my parents about my business?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was very clear to me that like my parents validate me.
Yeah.
And I want them to be proud of me. And I feel like if I don't have the success yet, I don't want them to know about it because that's a source of validation.
Yeah.
So that was also, if you think that we sit here and we all have shit figured out, we don't know. We have a lot of experience, but we're still going through life like everybody else, right? But yeah, I think it's really important to understand because I think also when you understand this, like the number of ego deaths that I've gone through, especially in the past 2 years, like I don't even know, the counter doesn't even go that high, but it gets less and less scary.
Yeah.
Because you start deconditioning
And it gets
the stuff that means
some of
anything
it
about
gets
you.
easier as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take like maybe sometimes before it could take like a week or something to process those emotions, and now I can maybe do it in one meditation and then I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. But still being like very careful with myself of feeling, so am I through this or am I bypassing something? Because I really do, are there something in the depth that I'm not going to here? So I'm always aware of where I'm at.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's also, again, to making mistakes and being human. I have the same thing where I'm like, I can't bypass this. I need to feel it. And then I'm like, oh, I think I'm through. I feel better now.
Yeah.
I feel like a Allison. And I'm not.
No.
I'm not. Like, again, to that point of waiting,
Yeah.
I should have probably sat with it for another day, but I didn't. But then, you know what? That's the thing about the universe. It's just going to come up again.
Dancing
You know?
out.
Yeah, dancing is great.
Dancing.
For me, it's
Move
also
it out.
singing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always singing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like do your happy stuff.
Yeah.
Crochet a whole
But dancing,
sweater,
it doesn't
do
have
that.
to be happy. It can
No.
also
No, it can
I
also
agree.
be ugly.
Great.
Just
I was talking to somebody about that who has disabilities actually, because I dance a lot as well, but I also visualize the dancing. Like I'll put on music that is really emotionally connected to me in some way, like it's angry or whatever. I actually do it a lot in the sauna. And like when you go to the sauna goose and they play like the music, I will sit there with my eyes closed and move in the visualization. And so I was talking to this woman who was in a wheelchair and she's like, I love this idea, but I can't. And I was like, how does it feel to visualize yourself doing the movements you would want to do? And then she came back to me later and she was like, that was really great. It was almost like my energy could feel it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's also like, I mean, if you can actually physically dance it out, I think it's really good.
Yeah. So good.
But if you can't for whatever reason, like, I don't know, you're on a plane and you don't want to be in some video that someone puts up on like Twitter later.
Or you have an
Twitter doesn't
injury or
exist.
something.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's other ways to move your energy.
Yeah.
Imagination is your best friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your subconscious loves. That's also the thing with like a lot of the witchcraft I do is visualization spells and witchcraft or calling up your power, grounding, all that stuff is visualization. And people are like, oh, it's just your imagination. I'm like, but your subconscious speaks your imagination.
Your imagination. So
that doesn't speak in consciousness. It speaks in the visualization. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. When did imagination become a bad thing?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember at one point when I was like having trouble with the misplaced disc when I couldn't dance and I was visualizing it a lot as well. Or just sitting in it or moving a little bit. And then I just got annoyed with I couldn't do the movements that I could see.
Yeah. Because you're such a better dancer in your visualization. Yeah. You're like a full-on ballet.
Yeah. You have like a crazy ass good choreography and you're just like banging it out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this not resonating?
You do it in the mirror and you're like, okay, this look horrible.
But this is also how like elite athletes do their stuff, right?
Yeah,
they realize before they do it. If you look at these guys that break all the records, you see them beforehand and they're seeing themselves doing it, and then they go do it.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Of the mind is
That's what we talked about before. Like we're all talking about the same things.
Yeah, but you're just doing it in different ways.
Yeah. No, I think that's the number one thing that I'm constantly like aware of is it doesn't really matter how you frame it or you talk about it. We're all kind of talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Even back to astrology, like you don't have to resonate with that because everyone is complex. Everybody has different signs and different things, but we're all talking about what's going on within you. So even just having the awareness of of how you're being affected in the moment, whether it's through understanding astrology or just understanding yourself, it's still incredibly helpful, just having that knowledge of self, I think. But I will say sometimes I have this like backsliding thought of like, God, sometimes I wish I just didn't know all this crap.
Yeah.
Like there is a complexity to it. You never have that?
No, I never have that. I want more. I'm like,
okay, I have the same sometimes. And sometimes, especially when I took this education for the clairvoyancy, I was like, am I just making this up? How can I know this? And this is weird that I'm saying to these people that I'm seeing these things and it's right. But I'm still like, my brain can't fathom that is right because it's also like, you're making it up.
Again, body, mind.
Yeah.
Picking up information, doing all the rest of it.
I think for the most part, I'm really happy with all the knowledge and everything that I have now. But on the hard days, because for example, like, we all know owning a business, having a business, fucking hard. So there are times that I'm like, I wish I didn't know everything that I know now about myself and about the universe and about all this other stuff, because I could just go back to corporate and let somebody else tell me what to do and just do the easy thing. Not that that's always easy. I'm not downplaying that, but it's just that I can't ever go back to the life. Like I think that's the feeling is like, was I happy in my past life? No. I mean, maybe past life, but like, before I awoke in, and I also don't think so there either. But like before I really woke up to everything and myself and in the outside world, it was easier. It wasn't happier. I think I have a much more fulfilling, happy, aligned life now, but it does require more effort than just going through the motion. So on my really difficult days, there are times where I'm like, man, I can never go back to that. I literally can't. Like, I can't get a job in corporate and not know the things that I know and feel the way that I feel about them.
I think it was like 3 years ago, I had a really big dark night of the soul. And I remember talking to my dad and I was crying and I was like, why can't I just be like my big sister? Like she doesn't believe in any of this. She's just like having a normal life. She has 2 houses, 2 summer houses, a house, 2 cars, 2 kids. I don't want to have kids, so that's not the point. But and a dog and everything seems fine, right? And he's like, but you're not your sister. You can't do that. It's not for you.
Yeah.
You're meant to do this. Damn it.
I know. And sometimes I get really mad at my higher self, like at my soul. Because I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why
Why
can't
did
we
I
have
want?
something
Sometimes
easy?
I also get like, did I really ask for
Yeah.
coming here and feeling these emotions? Why the hell did my soul want to experience this?
Oh, yeah. And then when you know your astrology and how you experience things, and you realize that not only did you come here at this time to do this type of work, to feel these type of things, but you also decided that you learn best by freaking experiencing them fully in your outer world and inner world so that you can then help others. And I'm like, cool. So I just have to feel like garbage a lot of the time or go through these really difficult things to get through them. And yes, and it allows me to help other people, which I'm very happy about. But there are definitely times I'm like, listen up, all right? Next time, Kardashian, okay? Like, just easy money, no conscience, don't care. Just do something easy. But I've also been to a number of psychics who like, one of them actually whistled and she was like, woo, your soul likes a challenge. I'm like, oh, that's a good way to open up a reading. That's good. It's a good way to start it, you know? Yeah. All right, where are we at on time here? Well, we're at like 107. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, I know, of course, we'll end up talking after we end this, but I can say that this has been really lovely, and I think that we should do this more often.
It's been fun.
I'm like, I don't even care if you like it. I had fun. I want to do it again. This was great. I think it's so nice. It's also nice, I think, to have completely different perspectives and things. And I think that's why we have such a lovely, well-rounded dynamic, is we have such different experiences and profiles and knowledges, and we can, like, I always go for gene key help and human design help. I know we both go to Signe because I don't have a wide knowledge of that. I have very basic knowledge of that. And then even a lot of the time is like the healing, loving, you know, supportive mirror friend and always there. And we're just always there for each other. So nice.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it is. And so you also, if you don't have a group of lovely people who are supportive and whatever, you should find that, because I think that's something that we're missing a lot of the time.
That was my 13 wish, like we did for
yeah.
Samhain.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Samhain? No, not Samhain. It was later.
Okay.
So I did the 13 wishes, and then the last part that I had
for
to,
Yule.
Yeah, Yule.
Yeah,
That was the one. Then the last part that that was back of the wishes was I want to find myself family and make me feel like I found them. And it's just it's lying there on a little thing at home now, so I look at it every day, and I just will feel like
on my altar as well.
It's on my altar too. Yeah. I feel like when we did the 13 wishes, when I was done, I was like, my guides are probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the hell are you thinking with these wishes? Because I'm like, you know, basically level of like, I want a pony and I want a Barbie dream house. And they're just like, Jessica, are you kidding me? I'm like, listen, if I go through all of this garbage and this challenge, you're going to have to help me out a little bit. There's going to be a reward on the side for me. Thank you very much. I guess the reward today is that it's really nice and sunny, so we can go sit outside in the garden. But if you listen to all this, I hope that you found it really helpful, or at least just entertaining. And thanks for joining us on Wildflower Woman podcast. We have episodes weekly. I don't promise on the day because I flow with life, but you do get the episodes weekly, and we will do another one. Especially if you like this episode and you like this format, please do let me know. I'm going to do it anyway, but it would be just good to know if other people like it. Make sure to follow on social. I will also put these lovely ladies' social stuff into the comments, but follow us, comment, like, engage. We'd love to talk to all of you. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can brand yourself or your company in an authentic way so that actually feels like you and it's not confusing, you know where you're going, you know what you're doing, and you don't have to sit there forever with this overwhelm of trying to find out what to do, only to decide on an idea and then not know how to actually get it out. That's what I'm going to be teaching you by doing my actual 15 years of teaching and leading marketing and branding in corporates and advertising agency. And then also somatic tools to help you feel like calm, regulated, get rid of all those blocks and these things that I'm talking about with the parking ticket. We're going to work on these kind of things. And then also, if you're interested, we have some astrology knowledge in there so that you can start to learn your own profile and how you best show up, your strengths, and how you express yourself, and how that shows up in your outer world as part of your brand and how you talk about things. So if you're interested in that, link is in the comments as well to check out the webpage. I have more info on a Wildflower Woman at Instagram. So yes, it was lovely having you here with us today. I will talk to you later. Everybody have a fantastic week.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a sign off.